Hello, folks that's hanging out on Airs Live this morning. I'm wearing my Tulane University gear because I'm waiting for the 6 p.m. Central Time probable fiasco on the road at Tulsa. Even though Tulsa has one win the whole year, they have an inexplicable way of beating Tulane at home. But anyway, that's off the subject. That's just part of my yearly football misery. But I'm being joined by John and Neil Abe from Georgia, who did experience some football misery courtesy of not Tulane University, obviously, but Louisiana State University a few weeks ago.
That's correct. Yeah. Not looking too good this year.
But maybe, but doubtfully, but maybe there'll be a rematch at the Mercedes Stadium.
I doubt it.
I doubt that too. Anyway, going back to the world of beverages, beer, wine, and liquor, we have from the Boston Beer Company, Samuel Adams Coffee Pale Ale. And if you fans want to look this up on the internet, you can rate it F for forget it, because their website is virtually non-functioning. They've got a photo of all the beers with no explanation. And it's funny because only until 3 days ago did they even have the photo.
Right. When you clicked on it, it went to the summer variety pack, right?
So sickening. Maybe they took a cue from Pabst. They said, well, dang it, if Pabst Brewing Company can have out-of-date beer postings with no explanation for any of their brands, we can do the same. And they're doing it. But you can find some things out about this beer on the bottle itself. It's Best By my bottle, at least, March of 2019. It tells me that it's certified kosher. The alcohol is, John can tell us.
It's 5.5% alcohol and 20 IBUs, and it's an ale with coffee added.
Yeah, the irritating thing is that they don't have that nice little rundown of the ingredients. I would assume it's a 2-row pale malt blend, some other malts, pale malts, and a variety of hops with coffee. But, you know, in the past, they would tell you, this is the coffee company we contracted with and all of that.
Yeah, they kind of simplified their labels a couple years ago, and they don't include any of that anymore, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, their website used to be really informative. Like they would have it would say this beer was introduced in March 2001, and it would go into, and they just, I don't understand that. And Blue Moon did the same thing because they used to have really detailed notes, but maybe they figured nobody was reading it. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
This is not pale, okay? This is
a very hazy brown color.
Yeah, this is a tan ale. Let me mute my playback. This is a tan ale. This is not a pale ale. If you think this is pale, you're wrong. But anyway, my 12-pack was $16.49. And let me say this. Look, I did a review of the King Robert II blended Scotch whiskey, and I'm still sipping on it. So it's swishy. You see, it's we talked about that off camera. I said it was kind of watery, and it even had a water flavor and a water aroma, but clean water, good water. But it's swishy. So, but taking that into account, if I look or seem swishy, we have to blame it on that, not me. Well, you know, I did drink it, but all right. I'm just giving some background, people. Whoa, that's really coffee, isn't it?
Very coffee forward. If you don't like coffee, stay away from this beer because that's exactly what it smells like. Very rich coffee aroma.
But it's medium roast, not dark roast.
Yeah, like a medium roast coffee. There is a lot of sweetness as well in the aroma, like almost to the point where it's like a milk chocolate, but it's mostly the coffee is really the main thing you're getting.
Yes.
And I'm not smelling any hops like from the 20 IBUs. So
no. And a viewer, Ashabla, Ashabla says, can you review the black lager in that fall variety pack too? I like that one the most out of the pack. I'm glad you mentioned that. In fact, I do plan to examine it either on this channel or John's. I do want to do a solo revisit because it's been years since I've had it. And my recollection from many years ago was that I liked it, but it tasted a little burnt, like they had maybe roasted the malt too much and it got a little burned. You know how that happens, like with a Pop-Tart in the toaster.
Right.
But I was favorable. So I'll do that because I only got 2 bottles. So I'll do the solo review, and then I think John would be keen to do an examination.
Yeah, I would love to do that on my channel. We could talk about that maybe sometime next week or something.
Yeah, and then Boston Lager, I think we could examine that on this channel and maybe get more people to join, because if anybody claims they can't get Boston Lager, they're just lying. I would prefer if they would just tell me, I don't want to join your examination. I would go along with that.
And Boston Lager is one you could pretty much buy a single of that at any of your big grocery stores in the pick your own 6-pack, because that's such a popular beer. So you don't even have to splurge for a big, a large number of it. Just get one.
Right. Don't tell me you can't find it though. That's not true. That is not a true statement. And then, oh, wow, I told you I couldn't do the pumpkin. That's not going to work because I used it in a taste challenge. And the other pumpkin I wanted to use in a solo review because, like you said, it changes. It's not the same. It's not the same. Right. This is very coffee oriented. There's a depth of coffee flavor from top to bottom in the sip. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it's coffee all the way through. It's a little sweet. There's almost like a creaminess to the mouthfeel. I don't think they do, but almost like a lactose type thing with it. Like when you put creamer in your coffee. The 20 IBUs are not coming through. Whatever bitterness I'm picking up on seems to be coming from the coffee, not from the hops, if that makes sense.
Yeah, coffee sometimes has that acrid note.
Yeah, so there's more of that acrid thing from the coffee, but I'm not picking up on any hop presence. And it is strong. It's very coffee forward, which might kind of mask the hop flavor that's there that we're just not picking up on. But because at 20 IBUs, you probably should be picking up on a little bit of that, but I'm not. So, but I like it. It's very good. And if you like coffee, I think you'll love this beer.
Yeah, and if Ashabla says, sounds good, guys. Anthony, his real name is Anthony. Look, if you're thinking of Oscar Blues, Dale's Pale Ale, or something like that, or Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, you're not going to get any kind of fruity hop resin pale ale bitterness. That's out the window. You can just write that off. And it's not even pale. It's more like a amber ale if you want to be techno. There is a malty bready undertaste. Okay, I'll go along with that. But it's medium roast. Maybe like a Folgers type thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was gonna say Maxwell House, but I think it's more like a Folgers coffee, medium roast.
Yeah, it has that Folgers. I have that Folgers instant coffee, and that's kind of what I'm getting with it. I don't have as much experience with coffee as you do, but that's kind of along the lines of what you're getting is like a Folgers coffee.
Maxwell says hello all. Hello Maxwell from the Russian Federation. Look, I went to your house for a couple of days early this year, and you said you're just not a big coffee drinker, and you kept it around for people that might visit, which is fine. Nobody's obligated to like stuff. But I admitted that I was sort of like a coffee addict, and an addict is a person that can't really handle not having something daily. And if I don't drink coffee, I get sick. Like I'll get a headache and I'll feel bad. So that's a sign, that your body is like dependent upon it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's probably the caffeine and the coffee, the coffee beans. So,
I know a lot of people that if they don't have their caffeine in whatever form, whether it's coffee, tea, energy drink, they feel terrible.
yeah. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm shaving, you know, and I got the coffee pot on, and I'm just thinking, I can't wait to have it. And I just get the Walmart Great Value medium roast, which is $8.48 for the big container, which is a great deal. And I have a suspicion that it might be made by Folgers, because the two big Folgers plants, coffee mills, are in New Orleans. They tell you that on the website. They're huge. I mean, huge, you know. They're both along US Highway 90. There's the one next to the canal, the industrial canal, which is their main Folgers plant. You can smell it. Like if you're sitting at the baseball game by the lake at University of New Orleans, you can smell it. If you drive by, and this time of year where you have your windows down, it's comfortable weather, you'll smell the coffee in your car. You know, it's that heavy. Now, if you go further down east toward Mississippi in New Orleans along the old Highway 90, Gentilly Road, Gentilly Highway, they have their, what they call their gourmet coffee plant, where they do all this like specialty coffee that they sell. You know, it's a lot more expensive than just your, you know, a lot of beer companies do that. They have their run-of-the-mill stuff, and then they're like much higher quality. So that's, they have their craft coffee. I think they call it that, craft or gourmet coffee. And boy, that's really rich. If you could just, oh, you know, it's of course a person has to like coffee. If you don't like coffee, you might say, oh, you know, what's that smell?
Right.
But this, it's so evocative of coffee, right?
Yeah. And it's more, I think I said when I first tried this that it was light bodied, but it's more medium bodied, really.
Yeah.
And of course, you're not picking at 5.5%. I guess in theory, this could be more of a sessionable beer, but I don't think you could really drink too many of these because it is a little bit too heavy to session, I think. Yeah. The flavors are all great with this one. You know, if you like coffee, I think you would drink this and think that it was an A beer. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And, you know, the fall variety pack, out of that variety pack, I think the Oktoberfest is probably the best one. And I think this and the Black Lager can compete for second and third. I really like both of them.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it enough to try to break it down into first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. But
it's definitely worth picking up the Samuel Adams fall variety pack.
Oh yeah. It was $16.49. What is your price there? $16.49 here.
Right. Well, I got mine at Kroger, and if you have a Kroger card, you really save a lot of money. I got mine for $12.99, but regularly priced, it was $16.99 if you didn't have the Kroger card.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I don't have that card. Well, my only complaint, like you said, the summer was dull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't buy that. I just watched your videos, and I watched some other videos, and I've had their summer pack in the past, and I said, I don't really feel like buying a bunch of dull beer. It'd probably be okay, you know, but I mean, this whole deal about, oh, if it's really hot, you can't drink an Imperial Stout. No, I mean, I've sat in my backyard in the heat with sweat rolling down my face and my back, drinking Imperial Stout and loving it, you know, so I'm not really that seasonal bound, you know.
I think people associate the heat. They want something they can, you know, drink a bunch of, and you can't really do that with that type of beer, but it doesn't make it any less good for the season. You just can't drink 10 of them, you know?
Yeah. And it's not, in my case, I don't know about your case, but in my case, it's non-applicable because I'm not a session beer drinker. Like today, here's Saturday. So this is beer number 1. And then in a couple hours, there'll be number 2. And then around 2 o'clock, number 3. And then 4. I'll probably try to drag it out till 5. Number 4, that'll be all I drink the whole day, 4 beers. I mean, people might roll their eyes and say, oh, wow, what a party animal. I'll admit that I'm kind of buttoned up, you know, and careful about it. But that's my excitement level, which is like,
yeah,
right at the bottom of the screen, like, But and then I did the scotch, you know, I admit that. I'll just try to add some frivolity to it. I'll pour it in the beer. I mean, I'm a wild guy, but and I'll at lunch I'll drink a little bit of the that Carlo Rossi Blush Chablis. And I did my Dawn Busters this morning, but that's it. I mean, so like you're talking about this whole seasonal, I'll just drink water, like literally tap water in a huge amount, which is not exciting. But people will ask me on, and they might ask you that. I don't read all your comments, but they'll say, yeah, but what beer do you drink when they asked me this like Thursday, what do you drink when you're trying to get drunk? Like when you want to let loose and just like guzzle and get drunk. And I said, well, I don't really do that. I just don't. And they're kind of like,
I haven't gotten too many of those types of comments, but you have a lot more subscribers and viewers, so I could imagine some of the stuff that you probably get on your channel.
Yeah, I mean, now I've had experiences. Okay, I mean, I'll admit that. I don't try to cover it up. For example, I did the Human Blockhead Barrel Aged, which is no longer made. It was like 14.7%. This was in a huge bottle. It was an extremely dangerous product. So I bought it, you know, and my friend at work, he was like, drink that, drink that. I said, okay. So it was the Coney Island Human Blockhead Barrel Aged. I was drinking it. I drank half the bottle, and I was like talking about, oh, you know, the intricacies of the flavor and body and finish and all that. So I thought to myself, I said, oh, you know, this stuff is not like they say, you know, it's not as strong as people claim. So that's where the trouble came in, because I said, oh, heck, I'm off of work today. It's morning time. I'll drink the whole bottle. What the heck? I don't feel a thing, you know, and that was the honest truth. So I just drank the rest, like no problem. It was just perfect. And then about 6 minutes later, I said, I said, I think I'm going to get out of this chair and I'm going to lay on the floor in the office. I don't know why. I just said I need to lay down on my back. I don't know why I did that. So I just felt like I needed to lay down on my back to kind of get my bearings, you know. So I laid down. I said, I'll lay here for 15 minutes and I'll feel better. And then I laid there, you know, I was very relaxed. And then I said, okay, I feel better. And then I looked at the clock. It was 2 hours later. I said, oh.
It happens to the best of us. You know, I don't go into drinking trying to drink a bunch and like deliberately try to intoxicate myself. But, you know, it does happen. Last night, actually, I drank when I got home from work. I was really excited to try the Southern Tier Pumpkin rum barrel aged.
Oh no!
And I did a review of it on my channel, and I knew we had the Canadian Hunter coming up, and then I was going to do the New England IPA with Eric. I mean, and everything was fine, you know, but I was definitely feeling it after that 13.4% barrel aged beer. So
yeah, you might recall. You might recall
watch the examinations, and I seemed a little too happy. That was why.
Yeah, you might recall that I made some predictions to that effect.
You did, but I think it went well. I didn't get too crazy, I don't think. Yeah. I'm not that type of person anyway when I drink, so I don't worry too much about it.
I remember after the Coney Island Human Blockhead, I woke up. I mean, I got up, and I was looking at the internet, and I was thinking, hey, who typed all this stuff? And then I realized, oh, you did it. And I thought, oh, okay. So, but people say, oh, that's how it is. That's how it goes, But I was thinking, no, no, no. Even right after I said, no, that's not me. That's really not the way I do it. And there was another incident or another experience, let's call it, in 2014. We were all excited. Friends of mine, we said, we're going to Mardi Gras. We're going to Mardi Gras. We're going to get down to New Orleans early. We're going to park. We're going to go to the parades. Oh, well, guess what? Driving rain, 49 degrees, and wind. I'm like, who in the world wants to go down and watch that? And everybody said, let's just not go. It's not worth it, Getting a little echo. All right, so we didn't go, and then those parades went by like in a shot. Like 2 o'clock, they were over. Like, normally these parades can go on for hours. Like they start at 8 in the morning, they'll be going on till 6 at night. It's like incredible. No one can take that, Continuous parading for 10 hours. Incredible. All right. So, but I said, oh, I'm so disgusted, I was so down in the dumps. And it's cold. You look outside, you see all this rain and sleet, but I just happen to have these bottles of this Fuller's Vintage Ale. 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The store had all these vintages on the shelf. Well, I just bought them all. So I said, okay, I'll do the Vintage Ale. So I did one. We're talking about 500 milliliters, 16.9 ounces, no joke. That's high ABV. So I drank one. I did the review, came out beautiful. It was a wonderful review. So then that's where the mistake came in. I was talking about that, and I said, oh, yeah. This was like child's play. I'll just do a follow-up. I'll do the next vintage. Oh, Lord. I'm sitting over there by those bottles, those cans. And I said, let me make this point. I want to make this point. Take 1 minute to make the point, 1 minute max. Took me like 13 minutes to make that point. And then some guy was commenting, he's crazy. He's crazy. He's like Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. He's crazy. I was like, well, what do you expect? I didn't know what. I wasn't expecting that kind of, reverberation. But the whole point of that is like, it's not a habit. It's not
right.
Like every weekend I say, oh yeah, what am I going to drink so I can get lit up? It's just not my lifestyle. I mean,
and beer, you've mentioned this before, with liquor and wine, you kind of know it's coming. You can control it a little more. Beer sneaks up on you. You know what I mean? Like beer, a lot of times you're drinking it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine. And then boom, just like that, you're like, whoa. Like, especially the high alcohol stuff, like the pumpkin beer I had yesterday, I drank it. I was like, yeah, okay, this is nothing. It's so smooth, 13.4%. And then about 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I gotta get it together here because I got 2 examinations I got to do later.
Yeah, you were able to cover that very well. Yes, I think beer can be very insidious. And when I did that infamous Fuller's Vintage Ale series double up on that day, I went on and it was ragged and terrifying. But I do stand by what I said, because even within that whole thing that went on, I do stand by what I said, because I was saying, well, this Vintage Ale is good. It's great. It's awesome. And I went all through all that. I said, but, when you think about it, a lot of people don't stop to do that. I said, you could make the argument. I didn't say you should make the argument, or you could, or you have to make the argument. I said, you could make the argument that if you took a beer like the Schlitz VSL high gravity charcoal filtered malt liquor, there are a lot of complementary characteristics with those two. I said that might seem completely bizarre and inappropriate to bring that up, but I talked about how there was a lot of common elements to those two items. Not from the same country, I understand that, but when I watched it later, I laughed. I said, I could see that I was struggling to get to the final end point, but I still stand by that. I think the Schlitz VSL really can stand up to a lot of things that you would never believe that it could stand up to. And then my friend David, he was just like, and his girlfriend, former girlfriend, whatever, but she was like blown away by it because she was a major beer drinker. Like, she did not ever deal with beers that were less than $10 a bottle. I mean, she did only gourmet items. If you gave her a Budweiser, she'd walk out. So we, I'm serious. So we did this Schlitz VSL, the Gold Bull. She had no knowledge. She was like my daughter, she's not going to research it. So she says, okay, let's try it. If you watch that video, they were just appalled. They couldn't believe it. They said, "Oh, this is the best beer we ever had." They couldn't get over it. And I said, yeah, I set them up, because I kind of prepped them with some other stuff. And they just couldn't get over it. If you watch the video, they just went on and on and on. So I said, well, just goes to show you, you can take a common item and you can do certain things with it, and it just knock you off your pedestal, so to speak. So now David is saying, now he was going to the ultra extreme. He was saying, let's make a trip to West Louisiana to buy cases of Schlitz Gold Bull. I said, well, I don't think I'm going to drive 200 miles to go get 24 cans of Schlitz Gold Bull, but I said, if we're in the area, we can stock up. So he's like just wound up like, a ball of twine. He just can't wait to buy more of it. And if we get the bottled version, well, all bets.
I get it here very regularly, but I've never seen the bottled version. It's kind of like a unicorn, around here.
Oh, well, let me assure you, there is a bottled version. And I was in Tallahassee. Oh, by the way, this Scotch on its own, it's acceptable. But when you add it to this coffee pale ale, it really does exemplify the experience.
Now you've got, the equivalent of a barrel-aged coffee pale ale right there.
Right. It's
that's something that our good buddy William Kepley would probably do.
He likes to do those mashups.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can bear with me, I don't know if you can, but if you can bear with me, I'll show you something that I bought in Tallahassee, Florida years ago. Hold on.
All right.
10 seconds. All right, so I was in Tallahassee, Florida. Back, you know what? I know what it was. No, wait, retraction. That was different. That was the Gold Bull. This was 2004. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I was going to go to the Miami, Florida Marlins. But anyway, so I was there, and I was at the hotel on US Highway 27. 2011. Okay. That was when I went back to that. Okay. So I said, well, let me walk across the street. I'll go get some whatever they've got. So I went over there to this convenience store, and I said, ooh, okay.
Yes, the infamous Bull Ice. Never seen it.
So I was in there, and I said, it was like $1.85, 8.2. I said, well, why not? So it was a fascinating product. They used to make, now this is a true story. They used to make a hurricane ice. Anheuser-Busch made a hurricane high gravity ice. So I contacted the company. I said, I can't find it. It's driving me mad, And they said, well, we got bad news. It's no longer produced due to bad sales. I said, okay. But it's like, how would you have any sales if it's never available, right?
Right.
It was like 8.1. But this Bull Ice, if you can find it, people, get it, because it's like, what did you call it? It's what?
The Bull Ice?
Like you were saying, like it's like impossible to find. Like it's
it's like a unicorn. Yeah, you'll never see it. Or a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was stunned. It's a 32 ounce, so it's from Florida. Absolutely stunned.
I would love to try it because I think the Schlitz Gold Bull is one of the best high gravity malt liquors on the market. So I would love to try that one, but like you said, it's not very popular.
Right. And that goes back to my old complaint. Why allow the public to get your best stuff? Like the signature lager, Busch. Oh, well. Like Anheuser-Busch told me, we're only going to sell this in a few select markets. I said, why? So then, well, that's what we're doing. So I was talking to this area salesman. He said, I never heard of it. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, Busch Signature Copper Lager. They told me on the internet they can't get it in Louisiana. It's not going to happen. He said, okay. He said, we got this regional meeting coming up. He writes it down on a little notepad, Busch Signature Copper Lager. So he comes back. He tells me about a week later. He said, look, I talked to him. I said, why don't y'all bring it up? There's a guy in Louisiana. He wants it, blah, blah, Louisiana Beer Review. And this is probably coincidental, like literally 2 weeks later, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells me, I brought it up at the meeting. I said, well, let's just pretend that we had something to do with it. So, oh man, we were just going berserk with that beer. We were in love with it. But naturally, what'd they do? Run one commercial one night?
I never even saw a commercial for it.
Yeah, they had it. It exists.
William Kepley said that they should have put it on a race car, with a NASCAR race car. And I think if they did, man, that beer would have sold like crazy, because Busch has the regular Busch has, and that beer would have sold millions and millions of cases if they had put it out there like that. Because it's probably the best Anheuser-Busch in the last 15 years.
That's what I was stunned. When I drank it, I was stunned. I couldn't get over it. I was like totally, I didn't even have words. I said, wow, the best beer this company has made in my lifetime that I know of, and so Busch Signature Copper Lager, and I just couldn't get over it. I said, but, I had a feeling of dread. I said, no, they'll screw it up. They'll never promote it. Nobody will be able to get it. And then they'll claim, well, we got rid of it because nobody bought it. Well, hell, nobody can find it. So, as expected, it died out. But here's another thing. I went to Detroit. Got this can.
Wow.
Yeah,
you've also had the Red Bull version, the extra long, as they used to call it. That's another one that I would love to try, but you can't find it.
Oh yeah,
they still make that one and the Bull Ice, as far as I know, right? They make them still. So.
They do exist from 1985. That's a very interesting product. It tastes like nothing else I've ever had. I don't know what they do with it. I bought a bottle in, I'd have to think about it. Don't have time for that. I bought a can of it in Oh, wait. It was the bottle I bought in Detroit in 2014. The can I already had. So you know, people say, Detroit, Detroit, you'll die, you'll die. You know, it's gunshots all day long. You know, it's total terrible. I said, well, you know, I'm kind of used to that. So 4 years ago, I went to Detroit, and well, as I expected, it was nothing like people had predicted. So I parked my car for free, by the way. I walked all through downtown Detroit. I filled that crate, you know. Incredible amount of beer. Incredible. Unbelievable. Stunning. If there was any place I'd ever drive to all day long to get beer, it would be Detroit, Michigan, because I just couldn't get over it. And the prices were just so low, so low. So I said, oh no. And then they had the Red Bull, but it was on the shelf like it was Pepsi Cola, you know.
Right.
But I couldn't get over that. But oh yeah, that was incredible. Well, anyway, we could just reminisce all day about beers that we can't get.
Don't even get me started on Pabst brand stuff. My goodness.
But I got them. All right. But anyway, yeah, don't get me started on Mickey's Ice Brewed Ale.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, Country Club.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about Country Club this morning, by the way. We would highly recommend this beer. And you'll enjoy it as long as you don't expect to find out any information about it.
Right. And if you like coffee.
If you like coffee, you're going to love this beer. All right. So now, as we stand here at the end of October, all right, 2018, we have Samuel Adams Boston Lager examination coming up, right? Or have you exhausted it?
Oh no, I've got some.
Okay. And then the black lager. Yes, the black lager. And then by the time that's finished, we should be seeing the winter pack coming into play.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I don't think I've ever had their winter beers. Hopefully they're better than their summer beers. If they're along the lines of the fall pack, I think they're going to be really good.
Oh yeah, they are much better. You get the Old Fezziwig and the Samuel Adams Winter Lager, which is a flavored lager. Yeah, they're not the world's best items, but they're good, you know. And then also we have a strong suspicion that everybody's going to get the Leinenkugel's winter. They call it the non-summer pack, which has the red ale. Oh, how long I've been waiting to try that red ale. Red lager. Creamy dark.
Ooh.
And the most exciting part of it, the original Leinenkugel's.
I would be really excited about that because we only seem to get the shandies here.
Oh, now they make the best shandies in the world.
They're good. Yeah.
Only problem is I can't stand to drink a shandy. But the Leinenkugel's original is dynamite. Their creamy dark is beautiful. The red ale, I have a good feeling about it. And the Northwoods Lager is really, really good. Not great, but really, really good. You know, like in your B+.
Right. And you're probably not going to spend an arm and a leg either for their beer.
Oh, so. No.
Worth it for the price, definitely. Sounds like.
Yeah. Well, you had a very good idea to do this coffee pale ale, and something tells me it's not going to be too long before we dive into the
black lager.
Yeah, the black lager and the Boston lager.
Right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, folks, for watching all of our reminiscing about tasting too much, maybe. in our finding beers at various obscure locations. And that was it. That was pretty much the content. Oh, yeah. And our examination of the actual titled beer.
Right. Good stuff.
Any final thoughts?
The fall pack is the best variety pack I've had from Sam Adams. I highly recommend it. And the Coffee Pale Ale is a pretty solid A beer for me. So try it.
Yeah, I go along with that. I agree. All right. Thanks, folks. So, well, see you next time.